Perfect. I see the title is Texas Small Town Secrets, the Horror They Tried to Bury. This appears to be part 1, so now I'll begin writing a full long-form horror story as part 2, continuing in the same dark, suspenseful tone with realistic Texas setting, psychological dread, and a disturbing ending. No short summaries, just immersive storytelling. The sun never seemed to rise properly in Merrow, Texas. It just kind of leaked into the day like a dying flashlight, gray and cold. Even in summer, when you drove past the faded Welcome to Merrow, Est, 1884 sign on Highway 16, the trees started leaning in a little more and the air got thick, like something old was exhaling just beneath the soil. People didn't talk much here. They nodded, sometimes waved. But you could tell they were always listening for something. Watching. A week after the last story was posted, the one where I'd uncovered the long-forgotten well under the abandoned courthouse and what might have been a burial site, I got a call from a man named Roy Dunlap. He sounded like he was already halfway to drunk, his voice crackling like it was pushing through a decade of cigarettes. Said he saw the video, said I was only scratching the surface. You want to know what really happened out here? He muttered, like he regretted dialing. Come to the grain silo, the old one. Midnight, I shouldn't have gone. That's the part I keep thinking about. I should have ignored it, blocked the number, packed my camera, and driven west. But something in his voice had the same weight as that town, half-rotted but undeniable. Like a warning that sounded too much like a dare. The old grain silo was 2 miles outside of town, near the tree line where the farms thinned out and the soil turned an odd color, more ash than dirt. It stood alone, tall and skeletal, surrounded by chain-link fencing that had long since sagged and rusted away. No moon that night, just the glint of my headlights and the pale orange flicker of a distant oil rig on the horizon. Roy wasn't outside. I waited, lit a cigarette I didn't need and kept the engine running. I was about to turn back when I saw a small flashlight beam flicker from inside the silo. Once, twice, I climbed through the busted gate and made my way toward the echoing hum of wind pushing through steel. The smell hit first. Not rot, not exactly. More like mildew soaked in time. The air felt 10 degrees cooler inside. My flashlight barely cut the dark, but I found him slumped against the far wall, a crumpled man in a worn flannel and torn jeans. Roy Dunlap. His eyes looked like they'd been awake for weeks. You filmed the well, he said without standing. You shouldn't have. I told him I wasn't trying to stir anything up. I just documented what was already there. That's just it, he muttered. It wasn't there until someone brought it back. He said the well wasn't always part of the courthouse foundation. It was older, much older, and originally sat on the outskirts of Merrow, where the town first began. Back in 1885, settlers tried to dig deeper for water during a long drought. But what they found wasn't water. They pulled something up, Roy said, his voice hollowing. Or maybe they woke it. He handed me a tattered notebook, its pages warped and brittle. Inside were sketches, dates, phrases in Latin, and a crude drawing of a figure with 2 long limbs and no eyes, just a gaping black socket where the face should have been. The word hearth was written under it over and over again, sometimes in blood-red ink. They didn't understand what it was, he whispered. They thought it was just sickness when people started vanishing, or the fever that made folks rip off their own fingernails. But then the children started speaking in that voice. The one that didn't match their mouths, I laughed nervously. It sounded ridiculous. A local ghost story, maybe. But the look in Roy's eyes was dry and cracked and entirely humorless. They buried the well, built the courthouse on top of it. Thought maybe that would trap it, silence it, but places remember. And that kind of thing, it don't die. It waits. He stood suddenly, eyes darting to the silo's corners like he heard something moving. You woke it up again. With your damn video, I started backing toward the exit. Look, if this is some kind of prank, he shook his head. It already followed you. And then, I swear, the temperature dropped so suddenly my breath fogged in front of me. Something shifted behind the metal walls, like nails scraping, slow and methodical. Roy screamed. Not a shout. A scream like something was boiling his insides. He crumpled again, clawing at his own throat, trying to vomit words that came out as gurgles. I froze. Didn't help him. Just ran outside. Everything looked the same, but it felt wrong. My car. Door was ajar even though I'd locked it. The radio was on, tuned to static. My phone screen was cracked, the video app open and playing the footage from the well again. Only now, the background of the frame seemed deeper, like it had expanded. Like the walls of that hole were breathing, flexing open wider. Frame by frame, I left Merrow that night. Drove till sunrise and didn't stop until I hit San Angelo. Stayed in a motel. Didn't eat, didn't sleep, just stared at that footage. Tried deleting it. The app crashed. I reset the phone. Still there. I uploaded it to an external drive and threw the phone out on the highway. 2 nights later, I woke up to the sound of fingernails tapping on the motel mirror. Not knocking, not scratching. Tapping, like someone pretending to play piano. There. Was no one there. Then I saw it, faintly at first, in the far corner of the mirror's reflection. A figure, tall, pale, head cocked to one side. No face. Just a gaping hole where one should have been, the skin around it peeling inward like a blackened scream. It moved. Matte in real time. Like a stutter in a video. Every town has a secret. But Merrow didn't just hide theirs. They fed it, contained it, called it by names too old to write down. And now it's moving again. I know because the lights in my apartment flicker at exactly 2:17 a.m. every night since I left. I know because sometimes I hear a voice, low and wet, whispering from the kitchen drain, even when there's no water running. And I know because last night, when I finally worked up the nerve to look in the mirror again, I wasn't alone. In the reflection, if you saw the video, I'm sorry. I tried taking it down, but it reposted itself 3 times. Different accounts, different titles. And each time, more footage was added, footage I never shot. I think it's trying to show itself to the world. And it's using me to do it.